You know that feeling when you are lying in bed, exhausted, but your brain won't stop replaying conversations from 3 years ago? That's not just stress. That's your nervous system treating your own thoughts like a threat. And here is what nobody tells you. The harder you fight it, the louder it gets. Most people spend decades white-knuckling their way through their own mental noise, convinced they just need to be stronger. But what if the problem isn't that you are weak? What if it's that you are fighting a war that was never supposed to be won? I used to think sanity was something you either had or you didn't, like a light switch. You are either functioning or you are falling apart. But after years of feeling like I was one bad day away from completely unraveling, I realized sanity isn't a state, it's a practice. And the things that actually saved mine weren't the big dramatic changes everyone talks about. They were quiet shifts, the kind that don't make good Instagram captions, the kind that feel too simple to actually work, until they do. Shift 1. Stop treating your brain like an enemy. For the longest time, I thought my anxiety was a design flaw, like I'd been shipped with faulty wiring. Every racing thought, every spiral, every 3 a.m. panic session felt like evidence that something was fundamentally broken inside me. So I did what made sense. I went to war with my own mind. I tried to think my way out of overthinking. I tried to force myself to calm down. I white-knuckled my way through panic attacks like I was arm wrestling my own nervous system. And it never worked. Because you can't bully your brain into submission. Shift happened when I stopped asking, what's wrong with me, and started asking, what is my brain trying to protect me from? Suddenly, the anxiety wasn't the enemy. It was a smoke detector going off. Annoying? Yes, but not broken, just sensitive. Once I stopped fighting it and started listening to it, the volume came down on its own. Your brain isn't sabotaging you. It's trying to keep you alive with outdated information. Treat it like a confused guard dog, not a traitor. Shift 2. Give up on closure. We're obsessed with closure. We need to know why things happened, why they left, why it fell apart, why we weren't enough. Treat unresolved situations like open wounds that can't heal until we get answers. But here is the truth. Most of the time, closure is a myth. People don't give you the neat explanations you deserve. Life doesn't tie up loose ends. And waiting for someone else to make sense of your pain is like waiting for permission to move on. I wasted years trying to extract meaning from situations that were just chaotic and painful. I replayed conversations. I wrote letters I'd never send. I fantasized about the moment where everything would finally make sense, and all it did was keep me stuck. The shift came when I realized closure isn't something you get. It's something you give yourself. Deciding the story is over even when the ending is messy. It's accepting that some questions don't have answers, and that's not a failure. That's just being human. You don't need their apology. You don't need to understand. You just need to stop waiting. Shift 3. Let people misunderstand you. Here is a special kind of exhaustion that comes from constantly explaining yourself, justifying your choices, defending your boundaries, trying to make people see your side so they'll stop judging you. I used to think if I could just explain it the right way, people would get it. They'd understand why I needed space, why I said no, why I changed my mind. So I over-explained everything. I turned every boundary into a dissertation, and it didn't matter, because people who are determined to misunderstand you will do it no matter how articulate you are. The shift was realizing that being understood is not a requirement for being right. You don't owe everyone access to your reasoning. You don't need to defend your piece. And the people who truly matter, they won't need the essay. Let them think you are difficult. Let them think you are flaky or cold or too much. Their interpretation of you is not your responsibility. And the moment you stop performing for an audience that was never going to applaud anyway, you get your energy back. Shift 4. Stop trying to earn your own rest. Rest is not a reward, but we treat it like one. Tell ourselves we'll relax after we finish the project, after we hit the goal, after we prove we deserve it. We turn rest into something we have to earn through suffering, and it's killing us. I used to feel guilty every time I sat down, like I was wasting time, like productivity was the only measure of a day well spent. I'd work myself into the ground and then feel ashamed for being tired. I'd binge Netflix at midnight, not because I was enjoying it, but because I was too burnt out to do anything else, and then I'd feel guilty about that too. The shift came when I started treating rest like maintenance, not luxury. You don't earn an oil change for your car. You just do it because the car needs it to function. Your body and brain are no different. Now I rest before I am destroyed. I take breaks before I break, and I've stopped treating exhaustion like a badge of honor. Because the goal isn't to see how much you can endure. The goal is to build a life you don't need to escape from. Shift 5, except that some days you just survive. We live in a culture that's obsessed with optimization. Every day is supposed to be productive, intentional, transformative. We're supposed to be growing, learning, evolving, and if we're not, we're failing. But some days the win is just that you didn't fall apart. I used to judge myself for the days when all I did was get through. The days when I didn't work out, didn't journal, didn't make progress on my goals. I saw those days as wasted, as evidence that I wasn't trying hard enough. But survival is not nothing. Sometimes getting out of bed is the achievement. Sometimes not spiraling is the victory. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is just be gentle with yourself when everything feels heavy. The shift was giving myself permission to have low days without turning them into character flaws. Not every day is for thriving. Some days are just for breathing, and that's okay. Shift 6. Stop chasing the person you used to be. We talk about getting back to ourselves like there is a former version of you waiting in storage. The you before the breakup, before the loss, before the thing that changed everything, but you can't go backwards. And trying to is a kind of self-betrayal. I spent so long trying to resurrect the version of me that existed before everything got hard. I wanted to be that light again, that unburdened, that naive. But grief and pain and life had reshaped me, and pretending they hadn't was exhausting. The shift was realizing that healing doesn't mean returning to who you were. It means becoming someone new who's made peace with what happened. You don't erase the hard parts, you integrate them. You let them make you deeper, not smaller. That old version of you? Honor them. Thank them and let them go. You are not broken, you are just different now, and that's allowed. Shift 7, choose your hard. Everything is hard. Staying is hard. Leaving is hard. Speaking up is hard. Staying silent is hard. Changing is hard. Staying the same is hard. The question isn't how to avoid hard things. It's which hard thing you are willing to carry. I used to think I could optimize my way into an easy life, that if I just made the right choices, everything would feel light and simple. But that's not how it works. Every path has a cost. Every choice has a trade-off. The shift was realizing I get to choose my hard. I can endure the discomfort of setting boundaries, or I can endure the resentment of not having any. I can face the fear of starting over, or I can face the regret of staying stuck. Both are hard, but only one moves me forward. So now when I am faced with a difficult decision, I don't ask how do I avoid pain, I ask which pain leads somewhere. Because the suffering is coming, either way. You might as well make it mean something. Sanity isn't about having it all figured out. It's not about being unshakable or untouchable or enlightened. It's about finding small ways to be kinder to yourself in a world that constantly demands more. These shifts didn't fix me. I'm not fixed. But they gave me a way to live with myself that doesn't feel like a fight. And some days, that's everything.